to you from the Yard Dawgs podcast studio. A show for the fans, by the fans. Talking all things Cleveland Browns. From our mic to your ears. With your hosts, Jason Hand, Mikey P, and Ian ColdTrain Coldiron.
Are you ready for some football?
We're ready for some football, baby.
Yes, you are now in the yard, and welcome to the Yard Dawgs podcast, a show for the fans, by the fans. This is season 3, episode 108. I'm your host, Jason Hand. The Yard Dawgs podcast is brought to you by Network 216. To check out all of our Ohio sports content, you can find us on our YouTube channel at Network 216. Joining me tonight, better than ever, co-host Ian ColdTrain Coldiron and guest co-host Brian Musick. Gentlemen, how are we doing tonight?
Could be better.
I've been better, man. I really have been. It's been, this was when you're ride or die on a game of football. Man, I've had some better days, fellas. I have. Very true.
Well, Mikey P couldn't be with us tonight. He is winning major awards for the company he works for. They're having a Christmas party, and his sales division won Sales Division of the Year. So congratulations to Mikey P. Sorry he couldn't be here, but thank you, Brian, for stepping in and taking the big man spot. Welcome to the show, buddy.
Thanks. Glad to be with you guys.
We met at the Patriots game back in September. You, myself, Mikey P, Ian ColdTrain, we all got to hang out at Top Dog Tailgate. We had a great time, and strangely enough, Brian, I don't know how many fans there are in First Energy Stadium, upwards of 60,000 seats, and we sat one row and 5 chairs away from you, man. So that was
right. I look over to the right, and I'm like, wait, I was just hanging out with this guy and tailgating. Like, come on, this can't be real.
Yeah, so we had a great time at the game, and you and Ian go way back, and that's why I wanted to kind of start the show is a little history lesson between Brian and Ian. Now, my understanding, Brian, you were Ian's best man at his wedding. So tell us about how far you guys go back, and maybe a couple snippets, a couple stories about that.
We probably go back like 10 years. I remember, Ian's old job, he came in to my workplace, and I think we just met talking about the Browns, which is crazy. 10 years later, we're still talking about them as passionately. But he came in, and I'm like we're same thing. It goes full circle. We were pissed off then. We're pissed off now. I was like, we just shared like a common, it's Brownstown. We're talking about the injuries. We're talking about who's coming up. And, one thing led to another, became friends. And, I was co-best man in his wedding. And
co-best man?
Yeah, his cousin. He was the other best man.
Okay. Wow.
Oboe Chris, another avid watcher of the Yard Dawgs. So both of my best men are avid watchers of the Yard Dawgs.
That's not Hot Tub Chris, is it?
No, that's Johnny, baby. That's
okay.
That's Johnny. That's Juju. He was also in my wedding, though. So actually, yeah, that is probably damn near half of my groomsmen are always watching, tuning in. So
I'm sure you guys were running the streets of Cleveland in your bachelor days, running amok and causing problems, but glad it all worked out for everybody.
Yeah.
Well, little side story. Actually, Ian was talking to me, leading up to when he proposed on the field, and then we were tailgating, and he was like, "Shh, quiet. She's right over here, like, don't spill the beans, and so before that, in the flats, it was like a restaurant tailgate, and I thought it was really cool. Pepsi made an orange Pepsi, and a special label that date. So I saved that until the wedding, gave it to Ian and Sarah, and it was like, a little memento of them proposing on the field, and kind of cool, like looking back on it,
That is way cool. I was sharing with you guys before the show, and Ian, you already know this, but it all comes full circle. I live in Virginia. I don't get to go to a lot of Browns games, but I did go to that game in 2019. It was a Sunday night football game against the Rams. A friend of mine from California, that we went to high school with, he flew from California. I flew from Virginia. We met in Cleveland and just had a great time over the weekend. I went because, Clay Matthews was being inducted to the Ring of Honor. So I was at that game, and Ian, you proposed to Sarah, your now wife, on the football field at the game that I was at. And I've only been to one other game since then, which was the game that we're all talking about, the Patriots game where we got the tailgate together. So I just think that's kind of neat. I remember when I got home looking through my Twitter feed, and I did see the video of you proposing to Sarah on the field. So I just thought that was cool. That I didn't know you then, but I know you now, and I'm definitely better for knowing you for sure.
Yeah, and
we're all dogs.
All dogs.
Kind of what Brian's saying too. It's I don't know if I don't know if it's a good fetish, but it's like a depressing fetish to where, like, you meet somebody that's a Browns fan, and we've all had these years of misery and the drive and the fumble and all these stories. When you meet a Browns fan, it's not like when you're a Packers fan, you meet another Packers fan, like whatever, they got Super Bowls, who cares? You meet a Browns fan, it's almost like your heart immediately is like, oh, okay, I don't know anything about this Brian guy, but he seems like a cool guy. Because then you end up talking about, did you cut the lawn at halftime? Did you cut the lawn by third quarter? At that time that we met Brian, we most definitely were. One side story I will say, though, a quarterback that me and Brian, I already gave it away, me and Brian very much agreed on was Johnny Manziel. That was one guy me and Brian were very much into him. We met him personally at training camp. We were all about him. Very unfortunate, obviously, what happened to his situation and his story in Cleveland. But, man, me and Brian were probably, if there was the Baker Bros, there was the Johnny Bros, me and Brian probably would have been at the lead of the pack for the Johnny Manziel Bros. That's 100%.
That first game that he had, that huge game that we went to, it was like we were going to go to the Super Bowl. Little did we know.
San Francisco, where he was running amok on him, and like me and Brian were hugging each other, like dude, we were in tears. We were grown men in tears. We were hugging, we're like, dude, we got him, baby. He's here. The Mecca, the Messiah. He's here. I mean, it's like, yeah. I mean, you totally. And that was a contest. I told you, Jason. Brian's always good at winning contests. That was the contest. He brought me to this game. It was we were on like the 50-yard line, second row. It was insane. And we basically Johnny Manziel going to spit on us at that time, man. It was just so crazy. But I'll never forget it, man. Two grown men embraced. The future is here. Like,
you could feel the air. It was like, oh, victory, yes.
Man, I think a lot of you guys weren't alone. A lot of Browns fans were hyped for Johnny Manziel. I know I was for sure. And the reason why I know that for sure is that I have a Johnny football shirt that doesn't fit me anymore in my drawer that my wife bought for me because she knew that I was excited about Johnny Manziel. And I think we all had high hopes for him. It just didn't work out. I think one of the problems was, his head was one. I don't think he had the mental headspace to be a professional in this league. But the other one was, I think we just threw him out there too early, too soon.
Yeah.
He needed to grow a little. He it would have been good for him to sit on the bench for an entire year just to learn how to be a pro. But that's what we do sometimes. There's two other quarterbacks that I was excited about. One of them played last night, and that's Colt McCoy. I was excited when we drafted him. I just thought that was the guy. And then the other one was Brady Quinn. Brady Quinn I was really excited about. Brandon Weeden I was excited about as well. I thought they were, when we drafted him, I'm like, man, Disney makes movies about this stuff. Like, he's going to win the Super Bowl in Cleveland. Disney's going to make a movie about Brandon Weeden and the Browns.
I'm looking over at my bobbleheads. Do you guys? I think that's who did McDonald's did the bobblehead, and they stuck them right. I can bring it over real quick. It's hold on.
Bringing props, man.
There we go, baby. Tim Couch.
Oh,
Tim
yeah,
Couch.
there's another one.
Stadium.
Tim Couch.
Look at that bobblehead, though.
Yeah, it is pretty cool, man.
Look, here we go. Are the Browns going to win?
Oh my gosh. Let's move on to the show. Let's do a little bit of housekeeping. Of course, the Yard Dogs podcast and Network 216 are proud partners with Homage, the apparel company. If you haven't tried Homage yet, you're missing out. Homage is always coming out with on point, cutting edge apparel, sports apparel, and holiday apparel. They have many. They have a holiday collection right now. All of our favorite holiday movies are represented. Christmas Vacation, Elf, Home Alone, Die Hard, Jingle All the Way. Showing your holiday class or support for your favorite team doesn't have to cost an arm and a leg. As a bonus, you'll get special discounts using our link to shop at Homage. Support the show. Do it in style by shopping for all of your favorite sports team gear at Homage. Find our link on the website, network216ohio.com, or you can find the link on our Twitter page at Yard Dogs Pod. Of course, I have my Homage hoodie on right now. Very warm. Love it. It's the Brownie Elf. Ian, you have the NFL Jam. Who is that? Garrett and
Chubb.
I love it.
This guy's...
And Brian is representing his reconditioned Winslow jersey.
And Slow is blacked out because I just want them to win.
The creative things that we do with Browns jerseys when the players are no longer here. But yeah, so shop for Homage. They're the official apparel sponsor for Network 216 and Yard Dogs podcast, of course. Let's get into some news and notes. Gentlemen, I don't even want to talk about playoffs. I think we have like 0.2% chance of making the playoffs.
Wait, you're telling me that there's a chance?
There is a chance, Brian. There is a chance.
I like that.
That's all we have to do is win out, and I think 3 or 4 other teams have to lose out, and then we can win.
Hey, we were down 3-1.
Don't bring that up. There's no connection there at all. Don't do that. Don't do that to us, man.
There's a slight difference. The Cavaliers can control winning three straight. The Browns can win out, and they can't control nothing. So, yeah, I think that the nail in the coffin was losing to the Bengals. I mean, it was long before that, but I think all of us had hopes that we could potentially make the playoffs if we just handled business in Cincinnati, and just didn't happen. So we're going to talk about that game. A couple injuries to look at. JOK, this was not good news. JOK was placed on IR, so he's going to miss the last 4 games. The next time we'll see him is next year. Linebackers, we're really thin there, Brian. What do we do at the linebacker position, buddy? Did you play high school ball?
What's that?
Did you play a high school ball when he might need to get you in there, linebacker?
No, yeah, I got a phone call from the Browns today. They actually want me to be. No, we got like 5 or 6 people, right? And none of them are on the starting roster. Like they're just there, basically. You know, that's the only thing. I know we're favored by a couple points. We're at home, but our line is hit. And
I was thinking about this. It's not necessarily a bad thing, especially in our current situation. Let's play some of these guys. Maybe some of these guys can play that we never even heard of. I mean, I know we got a couple guys on our practice squad at linebacker, but that position group in particular, I mean, we know who's going to be here next year, I think, at the linebacker position. But, let's play a few of these young guys and see if anybody shines.
I agree. I got there's actually a guy in the practice squad just got brought up. I forget his name again. He's from Warren, Ohio, my hometown. I'm hoping he gets in the mix eventually.
Is it Jordan Kanashik?
No.
Tay Davis, Jermaine Carter.
No, I'll get
No.
back to you. I'll get back to you on it. But anyways, I agree with your point. They need to.
Reggie
they need to-
Legland.
What's that?
Reggie Regland.
No,
No.
He's on the practice squad. He might not even be on your paper, but I'm
Oh.
hoping that he moves up. We've had a lot of good players from Warren. When they're given a chance, so you never know, they might succeed.
You got some comments rolling in. Maybe someone knows the answer to that. No, but hey, but speaking of comments, thanks for tuning in the show. MC Lawrence, I see. He says he was excited about Colt McCoy because he's such a great QB name. Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Colt McCoy. He just sounds like a quarterback, doesn't he?
Sounds like a gunslinger.
OG Juju says just here to talk about the random Brissett bomb. We're definitely going to talk about that for sure. And then MC Lawrence commented again. So we have a lot of comments from YouTube, from Network 216. We're also streaming live on our Twitter pages, Facebook. We're on a lot of platforms. So wherever you might be listening in to the Yard Dogs podcast, we definitely appreciate you for joining the show. Ian, I got to ask you this question, buddy, especially you. You are a season ticket holder. You spend a lot of scratch on this team, man. You were so we're all invested in the Browns. We buy our shirts, we buy our jerseys, we take time away from our families to watch this team. We're doing a podcast, but you spend money on season tickets, and it's not cheap. I know it's not. So I'm interested to get your thoughts on, what are you thinking about this Browns football team right now?
I mean, I'm beyond frustrated, guys. I started investing in the Browns the 0-16 year, and I'm sure a lot of season ticket holders can vouch. One playoff run, one playoff win in that many years. It's it just gets to the point where I feel like all of us have a toxic relationship with the Browns. It's like they're like that ex-girlfriend or boyfriend that you keep coming back to when you're single because the sex was good. With this team, the sex isn't even good. It's not even, you know what I mean? I wish I could say that at least the wins are good, but they're far and too few. I'm just tired of it, man. I mean, for the fans out there that have the club seats and pay more than me, I give my hat out more to you. But my breakdown pretty much is we give about $3,500 in total of tickets. Okay. Not to mention we were from Columbus, so we're traveling to Cleveland every home game. So you figure gas, beers, obviously, when you get down there, we're going to get hungry. We're going to get hot dogs. I mean, you're talking, let's just be honest. You're getting up to $8 or $10 when you add up all those. I mean, what are they $13 down at the stadium, Brian, right? Are they up to 13 or 14 a beer?
Oh yeah, I wouldn't be
something
surprised
crazy
if it's
like
15,
that.
16.
Yeah, it's 15, 16. So, my issue, to answer your question, Jason, is after watching this game yesterday, I was so pumped to go to Saturday. I'm like, man, it's a home game. They're going to win this game. Then we're hanging by the skin of our teeth. We'll go to this Ravens game, and it'll be so important. And yeah, all games are important. All home games are fun. But it's like after that loss, fellas, I am just sick to my stomach to think every year we get our hopes up just to get let down every single time. And I'm tired of it, guys. I'm 36 years old. I just want to see one time, and maybe I'm just dreaming here, guys. 1 year, can we just have a 10 or 11 game winning season to where you watch games like the Buffalo Bills fans, for example, they're not watching these games anymore with agony or disgust, or if they're, Bills fans are watching these games third quarter and they're down 2-3 touchdowns. They got Josh Allen. They'll come back and no problem. They'll get a win on the board. But watching these Browns guys, look at all the seasons. It's like 5 wins, 6 wins, 8-9, 9-8. And those are the better seasons, dude. It's one of those things. It's a horrible investment. I pray and hope that we get our money back, or at least, our investment back in years to come. But Right now, guys, I am just sick to my stomach at just the product that they dish out to us week by week. And I mentioned on the pre-show, we all know, I'll bet my mortgage, Jimmy Haslam's going to raise the ticket prices again. And to me, Jimmy, do the right thing, bro. I don't care if we got Deshaun Watson. Just keep the prices how they're at, my dude. You know, we've had a pretty rough go the last couple of seasons besides that one playoff year. You know, we've had a rough go. Okay, so spare me the, we're going to raise ticket prices because, you got your franchise QB. Let's see some wins first. Let's see a 10, 11 game winning season, and then you can double my seats or add on to my ticket value and all that stuff. That's all fine and dandy. But guys, and you guys know my story, it's not even just the tickets or the game. We're traveling all day. We're going from, 4, 5 in the morning to 7 at night getting back to Columbus, dude. It's a full out day commitment. And I'm sorry, guys. I keep hearing the same stuff from Stefanski. I keep hearing the same stuff from the coaching staff, the same stuff from the players. At the end of the day, I'm just not happy with the Browns, guys. I'm not telling you I'm quitting them and I'm done with them. I'm going to be a Bills fan. All these weirdos on Twitter, I'm going to denounce my fandom. But I will say this, man. I am frustrated as hell. The fact that I pay money, my hard-earned money, into this product, and just especially this past week with the Bengals, you just take a damn dookie, a big dump, right in my TV, man. I got a 110-inch projection TV, and I'm watching pure shit on my freaking TV, dude. We got pure, absolute shit on my 110-inch projection. I went to work the next day, guys. I said, wow, I bought a 110-inch projection screen to see turds all over my screen. Because that's how I felt this week, guys. We were supposed to beat the Bengals, man. How many times have we beaten the Bengals, especially in Stefanski era? And my issue with the coaching staff, especially this past week, guys, the only thing they were good at was beating the Bengals. And they couldn't even do that. They couldn't even beat the Bengals, guys. That was the one thing they did right, man. So, yeah, guys, I'm trying to get back on or done with my tangent here. But as a person that invests a lot of my money into these dudes, and I'm sure a lot of season ticket holders can vouch and agree with me on this stance, they have to improve the product that is on this field. Jimmy Haslam, if you don't know what you're doing, then get out of your position, sell the team, and give it to somebody that can. Because I'm sick and tired of spending my money driving down there from Columbus just for a damn L on the screen or a damn L on the TV, man. I'm done with it, bro. I'm spending my money. I'm taking my family. I'm getting a babysitter now for these Browns. All of that. And then they just don't even there's some games they just don't even show up, man. So I don't know what I'm not going to get into all the, what they need to fix and whatnot. We can get into that later. But man, Jason, you hit a hard note, man, because I'm telling you, I put my money into these guys, and every week, besides a few, look at this season, a few flutter wins here and there. This has been a pure shit season, man. And it's been damn horrible to watch. And I know we're a positive show. I always try to stay positive, guys. But I was one of you guys. I was I had that last little liver left, that last little sliver, like, oh, we got a chance. If we just beat the Bengals and we get past that game. Well, I was just talking about last week. But now that we've lost and the reality of this season comes to fruition, I'm done, guys. I don't, at this point, as a fan, of course I'm going to watch all the games. I watch every snap. That's the diehard. That's the fetish in me. That's that toxic relationship I'm in. But man, can I tell you I'm going to enjoy these next 4 games? Am I going to be positive like, oh, let's see what we got for next year? No, because I'm going to watch these games. I'm going to go with Brian. I'm going to drink a few beers. But I'm just going to be there to have a good time with my friend Brian. Because I'm not going to be there, there's not like there's anything on the line anymore for us. So like I said, y'all, man, I'm just frustrated, man. I'm beyond frustrated. And I'll just end at that. As a Browns fan, dude, God, bro, this has been a tough season. I think we all thought it'd be a lot different. But it's just, here we go again.
I definitely echo Ian's statements. What's that percent chance again, just to lighten the mood?
0.2.
Okay. No, that I agree with his frustration. It's just like, what other business in our country can you continually suck and still get paid millions? Like, and they make changes to the players, they make changes to the coaching, they make changes to the front office, and then we go in a circle again. Like, I don't know, like once you fall off the bike, maybe put on the training wheels next time. Like figure it out. You got to figure out how to move forward.
No one can be this bad at losing. You know what I mean? No one can be this bad at finding ways to lose.
No, they're really good at losing. They're good at losing. They can do that real well. I think that when you look at Twitter and you take the temperature of the fans, a lot of fans are just frustrated, man. Like you, Ian. I mean, all of us commit on different levels. Some people go to 1, maybe 2 games a year. They fly in. We know somebody that lives in Rhode Island that is a season ticket holder that flies to all the home games, stays in a hotel, and then flies back the same night. Like, there's some commitment going on. Pete Barker flew all the way from London to see his first Browns game. Now, they won that game. I forget which game that was.
Paul Brown?
No, Pete Barker with the BFO.
Oh, right.
He flew in
Paul Brown comes from England, right?
Paul Brown comes, Paul Brown comes to multiple games per year. There's commitment here. And we do it, Ian, because we love the Browns. We're passionate about the Browns. That's why you do it, right? I mean, I'm sure that you and your wife have a good time. You have good conversation to the game, probably not so much from the game, but it's an experience thing. But you're right. The Browns have to put out a better product. They really do. Because the product that they put out this year is just pure hot garbage. It's just hot garbage.
Well, it's so bad right now. I'm starting to question, like, it's really bad when you don't even know what the problem is because everything's a problem, right?
Yeah, I don't think there's a quick fix to this, guys. I mean, I don't think there's a Band-Aid that you put on and go, okay, we're fixed now. We talked about the defensive tackles before this year started. I think it's deeper than that, right? I mean, yes, we have a franchise QB, Deshaun Watson. We're going to talk about him. He looked rusty the first game. He looked a lot better the last game. I can see the old Deshaun Watson slowly coming out. So we do have that to look forward to as Browns fans. That's something that we don't normally have as a QB that we're excited about going into next year. So we do have that. But outside Deshaun Watson and Nick Chubb, David Njoku, Amari Cooper, a few key players like that, it's just too much to fix, man. I don't know how they're going to do it in one offseason. I really don't, especially we don't have a first-round draft pick. We have free agency, which I guess you can tackle that. But again, Deshaun Watson is an expensive quarterback. I don't know where our cap, draft cap is, moving into free agency. I've heard that it's okay.
And
so
Jason, let me, not to interrupt, but let me throw the thing I worried about too is we spend all this money on Watson. Okay, when your team's banged up and now you're forced to play the last 6 games. I mean, we all saw what happened to Kyler Murray. Now you're running a risk of really throwing your money down the tubes, which I hope doesn't happen to, Watson. But it's like you're starting to put your players at risk because your product is, the whole product is poor. So
you are, and this is just my opinion. Ian, you can weigh in on this because I think it's a good topic. The Kyler Murray thing that happened a few nights ago, or was it last night? I think it was Sunday night. That was horrific. I mean, to tear your ACL this late in the year, he's done this year. He's done for a majority of next year. That's their franchise quarterback. And I guess what you're saying is, do you risk Deshaun Watson and play him these last 4 games? My opinion, and this is I could be dead wrong, but I don't think you can ever be afraid of injury. I think him playing these last 4 games and developing some kind of chemistry and finding his old self in these next 4 games far outweighs the chance of him getting injured. And that's just my opinion. But Ian, I am interested to know your thoughts, and then Brian, you can finish that thought off.
Yeah, you I have to piggyback on what you're saying, Jason. Unfortunately, Brian, to float your boat here or sink your battleship, we have to play him because he hasn't played for 2 years. So you have no choice but to play him and get him these minutes and these, downs and these drives and these series of real life contact, not practice, not Stefanski, Denny's menu, booty juice, practices like that. But it's
there we go.
It's one of those things, man.
Here, let me speaking of the Denny's menu here, let me look. We got wait, let me make sure I get
over
this on here.
You guys over Miami?
Let's see. Yeah, stop. Shout out to the Denny's in Parma for giving me this nice playbook.
There you go.
For Denver, I got a Mile High Denver omelet. For the Eagles, I got the Philly cheesesteak. Let me see here.
Is the Wyatt Teller pancake block in there? Can I have one of those?
Let me check. Let me check my playbook here. Sorry, I'm gonna be like Stefanski and hide. Hold on here.
How about the 4th down Jacoby bomb? Is that on there as well?
Yeah, that's
the 4th and 1 Jacoby bomb.
That's in the dessert menu.
4th down ice cream sundae bomb. Is that on there, man? At the last page.
I think we got eggs over hammy. Audible.
How about the roughing the punter call? Is that in there? I didn't see that one. Jeez.
But yeah, anyways, to before we were interrupted by the great Denny's menu, you have to play Watson because he needs those game time minutes. He needs to. So it's like you have to just forget about the injury bug, and if he gets injured, well, there's nothing we can do. But you have to play him because he has to get these reps now, and also too, as fans, we got to see what the guy can do for the next 4 weeks, man. We need to see as fans, the little heart that we have left for our Browns. We have to see this guy score a couple of TDs. Like, I don't know about you guys, I need to see that, man, just to feel better for next year. Because back to your original point, Jason, franchise QB check. That seems to be the only thing we've taken care of so far on this team for next season. So franchise QB check. That's great. I'm happy for that. But now we got quite a few more categories to take care of.
I just want to clarify. I agree with you guys on playing him. I mean, you have to. You spent $220 million on the dude, so I mean, you gotta play him. But I'm just saying with our line and injuries, like now you're starting to affect the potential that he could have had. Like I don't know. It's.
Yeah, we just have to get him through these last 4 games healthy and connect with some of these young guys. The guy that immediately comes to mind is DPJ. Like, he's a bright light on our team right now. Him and Deshaun Watson seem to have a little bit of chemistry forming there. I mean, DPJ, I don't know how many yards he had. 114 yards this past week. That
was a record game, wasn't it?
He had 12 targets. I mean, Deshaun Watson was targeting Donovan Peoples-Jones. So just for that fact, to finish off this season, develop some chemistry with some of these offensive weapons that we have, and then to your point, Ian, I agree with you. Give these fans something to hope for next year. Give us something to hope for. That's all I got on that. Let's continue with the Bengals game. Thoughts on that? It was very disappointing. I think most of us went into this game with some hope, even though it was not a lot of hope. I think it was like a 4% chance of going to the playoffs. But had we won that game, I think our percentage would have went way up from there. It didn't happen. There's a lot of mistakes, undisciplined football, penalties. I just mentioned that roughing the punter penalty. Our defense did its job right there. Like, they were off the field. And by the way, that punter was almost in the end zone. Like, we would have had great field position, but I think it was Tony Fields Jr. runs into the punter. They get the flag, 15-yard penalty. That resulted in a touchdown. You just can't do that kind of stuff. I mean, bad teams do what the Cleveland Browns did, and good teams do what the Bengals did. I mean, they were shorthanded. They didn't have T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. They were missing their tight end, Hayden Hurst. They didn't have the weapons that they normally had, but they still found a way to beat the Cleveland Browns and get that monkey off Burrow. Burrow's back. That I know. He's never beat the Browns before, and kudos to them, man. They got the job done, but we didn't play good enough football. I don't think we would have beat the Houston Texans playing like that. I really don't. We just did not play. Chubb completely shut down. He couldn't do anything. Hunt didn't do anything. And Njoku had that touchdown, which I thought was good. And Njoku, when he's healthy, he puts up big numbers. And I think that Deshaun Watson and David Njoku are going to like each other for years to come, and hopefully these last 4 games. But outside of Donovan Peoples-Jones, David Njoku, outside those guys, I mean, Amari Cooper had 2 catches on 7 targets. He's dinged up. Outside of that, it really wasn't much to cheer about. Deshaun Watson, Ian, I want you to weigh in on that. We saw some rust on Deshaun Watson. What do you think the improvements that were made this week as far as he's concerned?
Well, I think the first week with Texans, he was a little bit hesitant to run. I'm sure you saw it, and anybody would be. He hasn't played for 2 years. He's afraid to get hurt. Maybe he got hit a little bit wrong on them trying to sack him at a play beforehand. But this week, to me, was eons better than first week. I know a lot of people were ripping him, saying his balls were. But first of all, I didn't see any balls too low to the ground. A couple,
no,
but not like it was, like it was last week. So he fixed that. He looked to me like the reason we went out and got a $230 million quarterback. There was flashes of it. Let me give you a scenario. If DPJ catches that ball in the end zone, he would have had 2 touchdowns, and then we only would have been down 1 score, and the game would have been completely different at that point. And who knows? Maybe K. Dorr, because he was pissed off Stefanski didn't put him in, gets an onside kick. We get the ball. I mean, there's so many different things that could have happened from that. But I think a lot of people were really stuck on his stats with, 1 TD, 1 pick. But the thing is, like I said, if DPJ just reaches out and grabs that 100% catchable ball, and I'm not putting it all on DPJ, but I thought Watson looked spectacular. I think it's a little bit of Cooper's injury, and for whatever reason, Jason, and it might take till next year, Cooper and Brissett had a wonderful connection. They had a wonderful duo. It's like they freaking knew what each other was going to when each other would breathe next. But Watson and Cooper, for whatever reason, they just have not been able to get on a rapport. Even that last ball that he threw that on that 4th down, and it was like in the fingertips of Cooper. For whatever reason, dude, they just haven't been able to get a rapport like DPJ and Watson have. But it will come. It will come in the next few weeks. But, yeah, I mean, I'll leave it at that. Watson made me feel a lot better than how I felt last week. Last week, I think a lot of us were like, oh, God, is this Russell Wilson all over again for us? We're going to be the next Denver Broncos. I mean, let's be honest. We all said that. This week was literally night and day. That's really the only positive I took from this game was Watson looked like Watson. And that's what I'll leave you with.
Yeah, I mean, Watson to me looked a lot better. He really did. There was one play where he had Cooper. This is the negative. So he had Cooper wide open in the middle of the field. He saw him because he started to pump fake his arm, but for whatever reason, he didn't throw that pass. And then the defensive line collapsed on him. He shoveled it to, I think it was David Njoku, and he got negative 1 yards. He kind of freaked out on that play. I think he's still getting used to the game speed, which that's a real thing. Now, I've never played football, okay, but I can only imagine you got 300-pound guys flying all over the place. They're all, they're all my size, 6'3", extreme athletic ability, and you haven't done it in 2 years. It's going to take a second for that to catch up and for the game to slow down. I really do believe it does slow down, and the only way it's going to slow down is time and game. So I think every game we're going to see him just get a little bit better. My hope is by the time we play the last game, I think it's against the Steelers, he'll be in mid-season form, and then we can move off into the off season with a positive outlook for 2023. Brian, so we had a comment, Patrick O'Connor, you guys know him. He says, where did analytics say to bring in your second string QB on that 4th and 1? I want to get your thoughts on that, because that was a controversial play. You guys know the play. It's 4th and 1. They take Deshaun Watson out. They bring Jacoby Brissett in. Run us through that play and tell us your thoughts.
Here. Let me just pull out my Denny's menu. That should explain everything. Here, let me look in here and see if. Oh, I got the right play. Here, I'm the smartest guy in the room. Like, once again, Stefanski. Like, just, I mean, what Patrick's talking about is the same thing when it was 3rd and 2 in the second quarter, and I'm like, I think they went for, they went for a pass play. It's like, you could probably fall over on the line of scrimmage with Chubb and get a first down, bro. Like, quit this fancy Hail Mary, 3rd and 2. Like, sometimes you just got to do what we're good at. And, you need to put they put Chubb and Hunt in. You can't just do it one time and expect you're going to the Super Bowl. But, try that more often. Get them involved. Get them. I mean, they're two of the best running backs in the league. If you can't figure out how to get 2 yards, there's a problem.
I personally didn't mind throwing it in the end zone on 4th and 1. I didn't mind that so much. I guess what bothered me was which quarterback was doing it, which is Brissett. Like, if you're going to bring him in to do a quarterback sneak like they normally do, I get it. But I guess Stefanski was trying to be cute and
use your $220 million, $203 million guy. That's why you paid him. Like, show him off, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a weird play.
They did that end around. I know where it's here's the thing. Stefanski, once again, like Brian's saying, he beats himself in his mind. They did that end around that. Remember, he was like, 2 or 3 straight sneaks from Brissett at over games times. And then they tried that end around. I think it was Harrison Bryant that ended up getting it for like 10 yards, and it worked, and that's great. He tried to throw them off. My issue is one of the issues that I always have with Stefanski, his game management. His, sometimes in that play, in that sense, Jason, it's 4th and 1. Deshaun was hot. He was firing on all cylinders. He looked like the Watson that you paid money for. So my issue with Stefanski is, even if that play worked 10 times in a row in practice, I don't give a fuck. Watson was hot. Watson was freaking slinging it. Let him play for 4th and 1. Let him play. And the thing is, Watson can use his legs. And that's one thing I forgot to mention too, Jason, about how well he looked. Dude, he was rushing for first downs. It was awesome. He was rushing for. When have we ever seen a Browns QB do that? So my issue with Stefanski is, it's not necessarily the play. It's, why are you bringing Cold Brissett on the bench into the game to throw a bomb when Watson was so hot? I guarantee you, if Watson would have done that, I think it would have worked, because he was, he wasn't cold sitting on the bench. It's just, again, Stefanski.
I just wish you would have brought Jacoby Brissett in to do a quarterback sneak, get the first down, get 4 more plays.
I agree. Just run the QB sneak. I agree with you, Jay. Just run it. Like, even though they were expecting it, he's 6'6". Just put him in there. I agree.
I think Stefanski gets freaked out on certain opponents. Like, I think in Stefanski's mind, he thought that the Bengals were going to put 40 on us or 50 burger on us, because he was saying points are at a premium, which, like, the first drive, I think it was the first drive, where we went for it instead of just taking the points, taking the field goal. So sometimes it's okay to take the points. Just get the 3 points, get that 0 off the board, get the field goal, and he doesn't do it.
And he doesn't learn from his mistakes in weeks before, Jason. The same scenarios keep coming up, and he doesn't learn. Like, then we end up losing, and maybe if he had, like, what were the first few games we lost by 4 or 5 points, overall. So it's like, yeah, Stefanski, you didn't learn the first time that maybe you should have taken that 3 in the beginning, and it might have worked out, beneficial to the later of the game.
The definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results.
I agree with that. I love that quote. But when you play the Bengals, yes, they're a high-powered offense, but typically in AFC North head-to-head matches, you can throw stats out the window. It becomes who wants it the most. And yes, the Bengals can put up points, but it's just different, man. When you're playing inside everybody knows each other so well. We know all the personnel. We know their plays. You know, we know what they're going to do. So I just, if you have a chance to get 3 points, you get the fucking 3 points. Sorry.
I agree.
I have to beat myself.
I agree, man.
Yeah, guys, I cannot believe this. We have 15 more minutes. Anything else? Any final thoughts on this game? It was disappointing. It sucked. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but after the game, I turned the television off and I went back outside and rake leaves for the last hour and a half of daylight. Man, I'd just clear my head, dude.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to turn off the game, like after the first quarter and be like, "This is boring." Okay.
Yeah.
Go
ahead.
Yeah, I just was gonna say, I always run to Twitter because I feel like, Browns Twitter and like Browns family understands us. So it's like nobody will understand the loss, more than them. So I always run to Twitter and I make my comments and I'll read stuff, like stuff like that. But mine actually hit me that evening when NFL or Sunday football was on the TV. Me and my wife were in my bed and I just looked at her and I said, Sarah, I'm just so disappointed. So that's really, that was the end all be all to my evening, guys. It just such a disappointing loss, man. It was just, it got to me. So yeah, please, let's flush this conversation now. I don't want to speak any more about it, but such a disappointing end to the season.
You know what? It salts the wound, dude. You'd mentioned watching Sunday football. We see so many teams that sucked a year or two ago, and now they're playing competitive football. Their fan base is excited. They have a great team. They're about to make the playoffs. There's many teams like that in the NFL that go from suck to great. And that's what's frustrating as a Browns fans. Like, is it hard to do that? Is it hard to take a team that sucks and make them good and relevant in the NFL? I mean, is this a rocket science thing that we're talking about? Or is it just as simple as getting the right coaches and getting a couple leaders in the locker room and turning a team around? For some reason, we just have a hard time doing that because we've spent decades trying to get to where the 49ers and the Buffalo Bills are at, where they just did it in a couple seasons.
Hey, Jason, I went to high school with Mike Polk, and I thought a long time ago we were going to be done with the Factory of Sadness videos, but here we are again. Like, I really thought that his videos would be done and we'd move on to happier days. But, all I got to say is I'll see you on Saturday.
Yeah, well, of course you will. I mean, that's the sad fetish. I told you we're in a toxic relationship. I can't just dump the Browns. I mean, that's the point of this relationship. But
if anybody wants to come to Top Dog Tailgate, Denny's menu is going to be in the parking lot.
There we go. That's what it's all about, guys. I made a decision. I think it was Sunday night or Monday. You know what, man? I'm just going to enjoy these last 4 games, have me some cold ones, and just enjoy it. I'm going to watch the progress of Deshaun Watson, DPJ, Amari Cooper. Hopefully he stays healthy, and just enjoy the football games and not get so bent out of shape if they lost, because it doesn't even matter anymore. And hopefully you guys can do the same thing. You guys are going to meet up in Cleveland and hang out a little bit and then go to the Ravens game. Just enjoy each other's company, man.
Believe it or not, Jason, speaking of enjoying people's company, I got a Steelers fan coworker at work. I got the projection screen. I invited him to my house. I'm like, dude, hey, we're both bums. Shook his hand. I was like, bro, it's toilet bowl, week 18. What are we playing for? Nothing. He was laughing his ass off. I mean,
let's be bums together.
My dude, Dimitri, who would have thought Steelers and Browns fans would be dapping each other up this season? Hey, we're both garbage. I got my HR lady at my work too. Same thing. She's a Steelers diehard. She's like, she just looked at me that Monday morning. She's like, we both suck. I mean, who would have thought, dude, we'd be sitting here hugging Steelers fans like, yeah, let's embrace the suck. I mean, just what a crazy season, guys. What a crazy season.
The only thing I don't want Browns fans to do, which one Bengals fan, I forget who it was, but he spoke out and was like, yeah, I think Browns fans are becoming Bengals fans, and it's like,
No.
dude, it's like,
No.
it's like, dude, you know how long we've been going to the games and losing for? Like, we're not going to join your little fandom, your crap, your shitty chili that you got down in Cincinnati. You know.
I will never stop loving and being a fan of the Cleveland Browns. I just hope for all of our sake they can turn it around soon. And really, I think they will. I don't think it's going to be easy, though. I don't think you add a couple defensive tackles and another wide receiver and we just turn this thing around. You know, I think it's much more complicated than that. I mean, we got some holes right now, guys. We really do. We got some stuff to fix this offseason. So before we get into the Ravens game, Brian, tell us about Underdog Fantasy.
So Underdog Fantasy, yeah, we're a proud partner with them. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy football. If you're like most people and you like to play daily fantasy and you also love to win cash, Underdog Fantasy is for you. Underdog is going to match your initial deposit up to the $100 by using promo code 216. So if you deposit $50, that becomes $100 to play in Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code 216 and make some Christmas cash. That's public square Christmas cash today.
Yeah, for the audience, I hope you notice that. That's the Cleveland skyline in the background and just looks beautiful. I love it all lit up. Downtown Cleveland is just so, first of all, it's a beautiful city. I don't even care. It's during the day. Like, it's beautiful. It's clean. There's just a ton of stuff to do, but at night, man, especially in Christmas time with it lit up, it's one of the most beautiful cities I've ever seen.
There's the there you go. Now you can see it better.
Look at that.
Nice. There you go.
Look at you.
Merry Christmas.
See you Saturday.
Saturday. All right, let's get into the Ravens real quick. We're going to be real quick on this because we got to get into our prediction time. The 5-8 Browns take on the 9-4 Ravens at First Energy Stadium. The Browns are favored by 2.5. I was surprised to hear that the Browns are favored by 2.5. The over/under is set at 37.5. So Vegas doesn't think this is going to be a particularly high-scoring game. The Browns are 3-3 at home. Ian, Brian, you know that. 3-3 at home. The Ravens are 5-2 in away games and are looking to sweep the Browns and stay atop of the AFC North. Gentlemen, give me your open thoughts on this game. Can the Browns win this? What do you think, Brian? I'll start with you.
Oh, sure, because they're not expected to win. So, of course, they're going to win now that it's the end of the season, of course. We all know the Ravens kicker. You know, he can kick like 100 yards, but I'm going with the Browns 27-20. I think Myles Garrett and some of the real leaders of the team are going to bring everyone together, and they're going to show up at home and give everybody a little hope with Deshaun Watson moving forward. I think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't know which quarterback we're going to see this week. I mean, Lamar Jackson, I don't think they've ruled him completely out. Tyler Huntley. He was playing today on a limited basis. You know, he's coming off a concussion against the Steelers last week. So I don't know who we're going to face as far as quarterbacks concerned. I mean, they have a good running game. You know, J.K. Dobbins, he came off injury. He had 15 carries last week for 120 yards. I think that, you know, with the way the Browns are struggling and the Ravens, how injury riddled they are, especially I don't even know which quarterback, I think this is going to be a close game. I think the Browns can win this game. It's at home, obviously. The the Browns fans are going to show up. Deshaun Watson, I think he's going to be even better than he was last week. So, yeah, I think the Browns have a shot, but, you know, I don't know who the quarterback's going to be. I don't think it's going to be Lamar Jackson. I do think that Tyler Huntley is probably going to be, you know, the quarterback for the Ravens this week, which, you know, he's not a bad quarterback. I mean, he could do a lot of the things that Lamar Jackson can do, just not as good as Lamar Jackson. So we faced Tyler Huntley before, I think, and didn't fare very well.
Yeah, he's beaten us at home. He actually throws a better ball than Lamar. So in my opinion, I'd rather play Lamar because at least you can get Lamar a little bit scattered, especially if you keep the blitz up. I don't want to play Huntley, so I'm not necessarily looking forward to that matchup. I think that what you're saying, Jason, is it's going to be a low-scoring battle for sure, kind of a snoozer type game. So,
I'm going with Cade York on this one.
Cade York. Yeah, he wanted to get in for that 67-yarder last week. Did you see him on the sideline?
I don't blame him though. Why take the 3, attempt the 3 instead of just a throw up Hail Mary? I mean, what are we doing? That's another one. Just Denny's menu. What are you going with a Hail Mary for there? Just kick the kid. The kid's nailing 80-yarders in frickin' practice, bro. He's nailing 80-yarders before the game, pre-game. Why not give the kid a shot? I don't blame the dude for being a little hot. I know
understand. I know we drafted a kicker, but that's not in my playbook right here.
That's what I'm saying, man. It's like, that's how Stefanski is. He misses 1 or 2, like, we're good. We'll just throw it. I don't know. He makes no sense.
All right. Let's get into prediction time. Before we do that, Ian, tell us about YouTube.
YouTube. You want to support the show, you can subscribe to the Network 216 YouTube channel for free. We're working hard to bring Cleveland sports content, and we have more shows joining the network. We are your one-stop shop for all your house sports content. A lot of people don't know this. A lot of people, my friends, I always have to resend the link. Now, if you subscribe, then you will get pop-ups on your phone when it's live. Same thing with the Facebook group. We have a Yard Dogs Facebook group as well. Same thing, but a lot of people don't know that. They think you just go on Network 216 every time it watches. Hit that subscribe button, and every time the show is on, it'll notify you. So just a little secret for y'all.
There you go. Isn't that sweet? Yeah, there's some shows that I follow, right, and I subscribe to, and it's awesome because sometimes people don't do a show exactly the same day every week, same time. They do it a little sporadic. And if you subscribe to it, it notifies you, and you're like, "Oh, cool! Their show's on." You can click on it and watch it. So, or watch it later. You don't have to watch it live. You can watch a replay of it. So, yeah, good stuff. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Let's get into prediction time. I don't know if Mikey P did he send his bets?
I don't know. I was actually thinking myself. I was like, did he ever send it in the chat or what?
I should have. My pick should replace his here.
Yeah, well, I'll if he hasn't sent his picks, we'll get it. So we're picking all the games in the AFC North. We have a year-long bet. Mikey P, this is close. Mikey P's got 22 points on the year. ColdTrain, you're at 23, and I'm at 23. So
wow,
this is getting close. It's getting serious here.
At one point, Mike was down 9 points. Do you remember that, Jason?
He was, and I had all but written him off. But here he comes charging back.
I was actually laughing to myself, joking that he would be eating the chip.
Yeah.
Hey, Jason, since I'm filling in, shouldn't my picks replace his picks this week?
I mean, I'm game with that. No. All right, we have 3 games to go over, and we've got about 2 minutes to do it. Bengals at Bucks. The Bengals are favored in this one by 3.5. It's at Tampa Bay. Brian, we'll start with you. What is your prediction and score?
You know what? I can just see Tom Brady winning his division with a losing record and going to the Super Bowl, but I'm going to go with Bengals 24, Bucks 17.
All right, 24-17 Bengals. ColdTrain, you're next.
I'm going to reverse that score. 24-17 Bucks. Tom Brady says to Joe Burrow, young Padawan, you're not ready just yet, my friend. The GOAT moves on to that game.
Wow. He's been struggling, ColdTrain. Have you?
I understand that, but this is Tom Brady we're talking about.
Okay.
It is in Tampa, so I like the Bucks.
That's how ass backwards the NFL is. Like, we beat the Bucks, and then we get destroyed by the Bengals, and then now you're saying the Bucks will beat the Bengals. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this year is weird, man. It's any given Sunday. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna take the Bengals here, and my score is real close to your guys. I have the Bengals winning 27-14. So That's my score prediction there. All right, let's move on. The next game, Steelers at Panthers. Panthers are a wild team this year. You know, they fire their head coach. They ship Baker Mayfield off into Never Never Land. He lands with the Rams. What a game he had with the Rams. But the Panthers can actually make the playoffs this year. I think I heard somewhere like they control their own destiny. If they win out, like they're in the playoffs. That's how bad the NFC is. But isn't that crazy? Unbelievable.
Yeah.
All right. I'm starting this one. Steelers at Panthers. I have the Panthers winning. Panthers are favored by 2.5. I have them winning 23-17. Panthers. It's in Carolina. You know.
Who's their QB now? Panthers. Oh, it's Darnold, right?
Yeah, Sam Darnold.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll go Panthers 21, Steelers 10.
21-10?
Yep.
21-10. And Brian, you're next.
Steelers QB, concussion protocol. Panthers 31, Steelers 14.
31-14. Okay. Wow. Okay. All right. Last game, Browns game. Ravens at Browns. The Browns are favored, as I'd mentioned before, by 2.5 points. It's at First Energy Stadium. Deshaun Watson is improving each and every week. We don't know who the Ravens quarterback's going to be. Who's starting this one? ColdTrain, you're starting.
Oh, I'll take the Browns 28, Ravens 24.
Wow. Okay. Brian?
Browns 27, Ravens 20.
Browns 27, Ravens 20. And I'm also picking the Browns 29-26. 29-26 Browns. So that's our picks. Guys, we have to land this plane. Barkin Brown show is on next. Brian, give us your final thoughts, man. You've listened to this show. You've watched this show for the past couple months. I see you in the comments. What'd you think about actually being on the Yard Dogs podcast?
Oh, it's good, man. Talking to my dogs. So, I hope I can be on again. You guys always provide great insight. Jason, a great host. Ian, great host. So yeah, I had a great time on the show. And hopefully, that small chance of playoffs. Maybe.
That's why I love you, Brian. You that little glimmer of hope, man. But yeah, hey, Brian, just to add on to that, it's a long off season. We're going to need topics to talk. We're going to need guest hosts. So yeah, Jason will definitely be in contact with you for another show, brother. Don't worry about that.
No doubt. Mikey couldn't join us tonight, and I reached out to Ian and Mikey. I said, "Hey, man, what do you think about Brian coming on tomorrow night?" He usually tunes in, so I figured you're probably available. And Ian's like, "Yeah, ask him." So thanks for coming on the show, number one, but also thank you for responding to short notice. Like, we didn't give you a lot of time. It's kind of like what Baker Mayfield had to prepare in the Rams game that Thursday night. You came on and just killed it tonight. So thanks for coming on the show, man.
Oh, it's okay. I just had to run over to Parma and get my Denny's playbook so I could, catch
and
up
he's
to speed.
prepared. That's what I like about him, man. Like, he prepared. He walked into a Denny's and asked for a menu. They gave it to him, and I'm guessing you said, "Hey, can I keep this for a little while?"
Yeah, I gave a little shout out to the Yard Dogs too. So if you're watching, manager, don't know your name, but yeah, go Denny's.
Well, we appreciate it, man. It was a great prop you brought on tonight.
Great show tonight, guys. Stay healthy, man. Mental health is so important. Like, it's the Browns. I get it. We're all passionate about it. We want the Browns to win. We want them to do great things. But, man, these last 4 games, I just hope collectively as a fan base, we can take it for what it is and just enjoy the games. Enjoy fellowship with your friends. You guys are going to be in Cleveland this weekend. Just enjoy it. I'm going to have me a couple cold ones and just sit, relax, and hopefully they win. But if they don't, they don't. It ain't no big deal. Just move on to the next week. Yeah. Unfortunately, that's where we're at right now, ColdTrain. Unfortunately. But guys, thanks for tuning in to the Yard Dogs podcast. The Barking Browns is coming on in just a couple minutes. So go ahead and leave your phone or computer, go to the fridge, grab yourself a cold one, and get ready for the Barking Browns with Jacob Roach and Nick Cons. Is that how you say it? ColdTrain, Nick Cons?
Yeah, Nick Cons. Consies.
Consies.
We know you're listening. You're waiting. You say, come on, what are these guys doing? All right, Consies. We got you, man. We're getting
awesome.
off.
Well, I like to end all of our shows with a Go Browns. So, Brian, ColdTrain, if you'll join me on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Go Browns.